Joey Papa, and I love media. I'm a media maker, communicator, husband, and father of 5. This summer, I learned that we, all of us, should be getting ready for the first. Is there any space between who they are and the media they're immersed in? What role is media playing in their lives? In our lives?
What role is media playing in our lives? Media has a central role in our lives, whether we're fully aware of it or not. Technology and media are rapidly progressing, and so is our role as the creators and as the users or the audience to media. When the dominant media sources were channels of oral communication, even print and broadcasts, audiences remained very passive. They were at the receiving end of the channel and accepted what was relayed to them, for the most part. As new environments and media emerged, the role of audience shifted as they were able to participate and engage and react and critique what was being transmitted to them. Within no time, network computers catapulted the idea of audience as spectators from spectators to all-round participants. People were creating their own original works based off of and inspired from materials that they were introduced to as an audience. Audiences were looked at now as potential creators, potential authors. Having access to technology doesn't ensure that all participation will be meaningful, though. We all engage, but will we continue to produce things of substance? Will we go too far? Are we going to be too dependent on technology? And these are all questions that a series of short stories published by Alexander Weinstein called The Children of the New World kind of question. His short stories are all fictional tales of what we could progress to as technology continues to progress. Rather than diving hundreds of years into the future, Weinstein sets his stories only a couple decades from now, showing the realities and how close they are. His first story is entitled Saying Goodbye to Yang, which is set in a reality where people are actively cloning themselves to reproduce or buying robots as companions or children or tools. This family has their robot Yang, and it opens up with him malfunctioning, and it's a story of how dependent they are on Yang and how much they need him, and they don't even realize until he's dead. They try to act nonchalant by saying, "What can you expect from electronics?" But they come to realize that they needed Yang, and it's difficult when you can't afford to replace him. I found it interesting in this text that this protagonist family, they were very, very resistant towards cloning, kind of unnatural feeling, and they just, if they could not involve themselves in it or associate themselves with people who are cloning, that would be better. They were more likely to rely on technology to help assimilate their daughter and to help their daughter understand her own culture. So as we realize the integration of media into our lives and the shift of audience role, it becomes frightening to imagine just how far we will progress. Weinstein brings to light possible realities that society is afraid to accept. Are we going to go too far? Are we going to be forever reliant on technology and media for leading successful lives? Yang's family nearly panicked about how they would proceed with their normal lives without the robot that they relied on. The New York Times posted an interesting article about these short stories and how technology affects us. Some of the stories, not all of them, speak of a reality where there is no technology, where it's obsolete, and how they progress and how society has fallen apart, while others talk about how society is just completely engulfed in it. But what's terrifying is these are all very possible realities. I also reviewed the book, and similar to the New York Times, and the title of their online article is interesting. Children of the New World aims a cautious eye at our technological future. And one quote that was pulled from this article that I really enjoyed was that the technology in Weinstein's stories isn't far-fetched, and that makes it all the more frightening. He's bringing into light something that we need to acknowledge and accept. So, so Weinstein wasn't afraid to provoke the idea of technology, so going so far to consume us or to create alternate realities that comfort our psychological being and fill all of our voids. So are we going to continue to blindly race forward with technology as it advances and allows media to potentially and probably dictate our lives? Are we going to become so reliant and that we're going to be completely dependent on technology, as Weinstein seems to imagine it in some of his stories? And when will we officially lose our identity as an audience and our identities as ourselves?